Hi guys, so here's the deal. Notice that there is no intro. That means that this is not a Wmpyr 1982 video. It's not. It's not a cave video. This is me, Joel, the man, speaking. There will be parts of this video that for some people will be rather unsavory. Sorry about that, but it's the truth. This video is for those who are deciding whether or not they want to follow the warrior path, and literally to what level they choose they want to choose. They're trying to choose what they want. To what level, basically. I'm going to explain some things, and basically for the warriors of good, there are pretty much two paths to choose from. You will know those in time, as this video goes on. Think of this video as kind of like a big brother sitting down next to you and giving you some really good advice that you need. Think of this as a unbiased point of view that has been learned through a lot of pain, heartache, and strife. If I can save someone half of the problems that I've dealt with in the past, it would be a good thing. So that's what my intent is. So that said, enjoy. Oh, by the way, if you're not ready for brutal honesty, now would be a good time to shut off the video. You've been warned. Alright, enough of that. This is a response video to Wmpyr's vigilante idea, or this the idea of people good versus evil, and evil versus evil, and what do I think about it, and what do people think about it. And it actually touches on to a subject that I've been wanting to touch on for quite some time, but this type of subject is really hard to start, to kind of kick it over. It's really hard to get it started, but there's some really important things that need to be really understood, pretty much for anyone that's either in this path, what I'm talking about is the path of the warrior, or preparing to go down this path. Alright, so you have to understand that. So let's get started. Alright, so a common thing and a common thread that is shown is that if you take the whole of society and you can break that into equal sections. Now everybody says, well, there's the sheep, or the sheeple. Now what are sheeple? Sheeple are just basically people that do what they do. They go along about their daily lives, completely oblivious to everything and everyone around them, and they have no understanding of danger, or where the danger is, or what the danger can hold, and all that stuff. I are not a sheeple. Okay? And if you choose to go down the warrior path, sheeple is no longer a option for you. Sorry. It's not. That's part of it. And then you have the wolves. And the wolves are the members of society, however loosely they may be. And the wolves basically prey upon the sheeple. That's what they do. They prey upon others, possibly other evil people. Sometimes, well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. But primarily, their primary purpose is to break laws and feed off the sheeple. That's how they gain their sustenance. Then you have the sheepdogs. The sheepdogs are pretty much, most of the time, they are regular members of society that work alongside the sheeple. A great example would be the guy that goes to your office with you, that works in the same office that you do or whatever. It's just this guy carries a knife, or this guy carries a gun, or this guy knows very well of how to defend him or herself, and is the guy that if everything goes to crap and somebody starts attacking, he can handle the threat. That's what a sheepdog is. Now then, Wmpyr touched on to the subject of evil versus evil. Now there is a last section of society that is seldom talked about, never celebrated, never celebrated, but still just as important in some ways and in some situations. And that, to me, is the wolf hunters. The wolf hunters, their job, or their thing that they do, is they make their living off of the wolves. They track the wolves, they take down the wolves, and they gain their sustenance through that. Every society has them. Some are more politically accepted than others. In our current society, these would be the people that are doing special work for the government. We'll put it like that, and I'm going to leave it that way. Okay. So, even with that, you still have people that do this type of thing. A lot of the time, they're unbeknownst to any other group. That's why the wolf hunter is never really talked about. And that's kind of the way it is. Now, you have to understand. Now, there's a common thread through all of this, and the common thread is this: everybody is doing something for something, always. Okay. A sheeple goes to his office job, works his 9 to 5. Maybe he's programming a computer or whatever. He gets paid, he goes home, he hangs out with his wife and his family, raises his kids, blah, 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 blah. Your sheepdog does all the things that the sheep does most of the time, except he does all those things, and if crap hits the fan, he's always ready. He's always ready to handle that threat, whatever that threat is. Now, with our firearms-free zones and stuff like that, that makes things a little more difficult for the sheepdog. So, yeah. But I'm going to let that one slide there. Because that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But the sheepdog does virtually everything that the sheep does through the daily life. The wolf makes his living out the sheep, so he spends his days thinking of how he can get things out of the sheep. Basically, this would be your con jobs. These would be your con artists. These would be various fraud people, smash and grab robbery people. These would be your thieves, your robbers, and all that stuff. Okay. Your wolf hunters, then, are the guys who figure out how to take out the wolves. In some ways, and in some instances, that would be a government agency. In other ways, in other instances, that would be the police. Something like that. So, everybody wants to say that the cops are a sheepdog. By and large, yeah. But there are, like SWAT. SWAT is not a sheepdog. They do not go out for regular, SWAT does not work a beat, okay? SWAT does what they do, and they're very good at what they do. SWAT would be a wolf hunter. Okay. So that's the best way of explaining what a wolf hunter is. So let's go further in this. There are times as a warrior that you will be put in situations that you really have no place being in, that you really don't want to be in at all, but oh shit, here we go. Here it is. A prime example is one from my personal life. And what happened is there was a family member of my wife's who had a friend that was trying to move out of her house because she was getting a divorce. I was contacted to and I was given an offer of, hey, if you help us move this washer and dryer, we'll give you $10. Okay. At the point, I was kind of in between jobs. I had a job starting on Monday, and it was Friday, and I had no cigarettes. So, $10, 2 packs of cigarettes. Let's go. Yeah, Yavo, let's go, right? So anyway, I get to the house. I'm working, and I'm getting, it turns out to be a heck of a lot more than a washer and a dryer, which is why I signed on for it. But anyway, so I'm moving stuff and all that stuff. And the next thing I know, I hear somebody yell my name. I go in the house, and there her husband is, and he sees me come in the house, wondering what's going on, right? And out of his couch cushions, he pulls a .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun, racks the slide. I now know that there is without a doubt a live round in that chamber. And he sees me as the threat. Two of the girls that were nearest to him managed to strip the gun away from him, at which point he came towards me and he put his hands on me and tried to push me back into the wall. Using what we were taught to use, I just simply displaced my body and threw him into a table using more or less an Aikido move. Just basically by displacing my body and letting his force throw himself. At which point I was angry, so then I followed through with a back fist. He ducked under it, took me down with a double leg takedown right onto some stairs, and I started working with inside the guard looking for an armbar. At which point, two of the girls then jumped on his back, which screwed up any chance for me to get an armbar, one, and two, now I've got his weight and their weight on top of me, on top of the stairs that I just got slammed on. It's not a good situation for me. Anyway, they're trying to hit him in the head with a clock and all kinds of crap. And anyway, he finally starts to get up, and realizing at that point that if he gets up and is on his feet, I'm still on my back. That's a bad position for me. So I go straight into like a Muay Thai clinch. I got my right hand behind his neck, and I'm holding on to his arm here, and I just come up with him. And which point we're kind of Muay Thai clinch, and he's trying to figure out what to do because he doesn't know what to do. And at this point, I'm like, screw this. I want to stop this confrontation. And so I took advantage of the situation, and by using the back of his head as leverage, I started firing my right knee right into his groin, and I scored 3 or 4 really good, really good hits, and he stumbled off, and that stopped the fight. Anyway, so I got out of the situation relatively unscathed, and the guy got out of the situation relatively unscathed. And there was a time when they asked me or the prosecutor asked me my opinion of that thing, because the cops were called and all that stuff. And I said to him, I said, honestly, because after that incident had happened, I learned that the people of my wife's family basically volunteered my services because they knew that I was a warrior type, because they knew that I had the martial arts experience that I do, because they knew that I had the training that I have, and because they knew that my size and who I am, they expected, they kind of tried to use me as an unwitting enforcer. And basically upshot of it is they told the guy that they would have me come to the house and straighten him out. I didn't know that this was going on. Had I known this, I wouldn't have gone into the house. Why would I do that? Especially for $10. $10 is not worth that. So, upshot of that is that when I told the prosecutor, look, after I learned what was said to the guy, I can't say I blame him. Can't say I blame the man. And that's, and that's something that we run into as warriors. Sometimes there'll be people that'll just volunteer our services for us, and we have no idea what the hell's going on. And then, oh shit, now this guy's got a gun and he's wanting to, you know what I'm saying? And instantly it's a bad situation real quick. And you find that, and you find yourself in those types of situations. So, the point of this is, understand that a lot of the time, if there's a situation going down, you don't want to be anywhere near that thing. You have to, I think, the most important thing for us to do as warriors, as far as a set of, well, Nothing Fancy calls them unlock codes, which is basically a military term for deciding whether or not to engage your opponent. And not only when, but to what level in the force continuum to engage your opponent. And for a lot of people, those same unlock codes and everything are going to be drastically different. So my point is this: if you have a family that you care for, or that you have a strong need to protect, or a strong sense of responsibility to, it honestly is best to be a sheepdog type of warrior instead of a wolf hunter or a vigilante. Because a vigilante, you're going to run into legal issues, you're going to run into legal problems, which means at some point or another you're going to be in jail. That's the way it is. It's going to happen. You're also going to have to run into situations where, yeah, there's a really good chance that you're going to be in the hospital getting bullets yanked out of you if you survive. There's also going to be chances that you're going to be in the hospital dealing with severe lacerations because you decided to get in a knife fight with somebody over the way he was talking to his woman or whatever happened at the time. I think that there's a large amount that needs to be said for common sense, and I think that most people need to do that and use that. I think that every person needs to understand what's best for them and to do that. If that means helping somebody, that's cool. I have no problem with helping anybody, but there's limits. And the limits pretty much stop at the point where it really starts costing me and my family. So, you know, that's the way I see it. So, I hope this was able to help you. If you were in such a situation of trying to decide where you want to be on the continuum, I hope this helps you understand. Because being a vigilante or being a wolf hunter or being anything like that, it's not worth the hassle. It's just not worth the hassle. There is so much more problems that come along with that doesn't matter. And even if you are able to help that girl, you know, let's say you're in a situation where you're walking down the street and you see a boyfriend or a girlfriend get into it, and you, being a vigilante type, decide to get in the middle of it. Now you are the target. And not only are you a target for the guy, most likely you're also a target for the girl. Something else is that a lot of the time a young vigilante, a young guy, let's say he's 18, won't understand that because he's all attracted to the girl a lot of the time. Hey, if I ride in with my white hearse, you know, maybe she'll ride away with me. Doesn't work that way, guys. I'm telling you, it don't work that way. You always get the short end of the stick on that one. More likely what's going to happen, the guy's going to beat the crap out of you, and then the girl's going to ride off with the guy, and that's going to be the way it is. So, yeah. I hope this helps you. I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your views, I appreciate your time. Defend your homes wisely.